Mike Huber, Moneyball Hitter Magazine, lead columnist, team hitting specialist. Obviously, I'm not doing much training with weather like this. Welcome to Chicago, folks, our first real snow. And today's lesson, well, first of all, we're going to be talking about the Seattle Mariners, just one of the other 20 teams that just totally suck at hitting in baseball. But today's lesson, we're going to try to fit in some lessons for you all out there, okay? Today's lesson is appearance and the importance of appearance in Major League Baseball. So if you look at me right now, it would appear to me that I'm silly because I've got a stocking cap on. It would appear to me that it's cold out. But yet I live in a wealthy house, which I don't, but it would appear that way because there's a big house back there. It would appear that I really don't care what I look like here today because I've got these speakers around my neck, and I would appear to be unprofessional to be a lead columnist for Moneyball Hitter Magazine. And then you can use your judgment as, I'm not going to listen to this guy because of the way that he looks. Let's keep this in mind, the appearance of things, and why appearance is more important than actual results, even with Major League general managers, hitting coaches, and on down to even some of the players. Remember that we began with this lesson. Okay, so the Seattle Mariners. Let's talk about them. 23rd in hitting this year. I think there's 29 teams. 23rd in hitting. 244 whopping team average. 376 slugging percentage. Can't even get to 400. That's pretty much terrible. And they haven't been any better in 2013 or really 2012. Okay? They've been hovering around between 234 and 244 with terrible slugging percentages. All right? As a matter of fact, they went down in power significantly this year. Okay? So, Seattle Mariners don't look good. They don't look good. Okay? The only thing that really saved them from being a little league team was getting Robinson Cano and adding a superstar player to the team. Okay? Now, at the pace that they're going on, they went from a 237 hitting team to a 244 team hitting team. They gained 5-6 points in their team batting average. They went down their power numbers. If there's any gradual improvement there, at the pace that they're on, it'll take them 10 years if they had the same type of improvements just to probably get a playoff shot. Okay? But they're so up and down. They've gone through so many hitting instructors and managers that it's just pretty sick. They're just throwing hope tablets out there and just throwing guys out there just to see if anything's going to happen. Okay? Let's talk about the star players. Robinson Cano had another good season. 314 he hit this year. He usually does hit about 314. He did with the Yankees and stuff like that too. But he only hit 14 home runs as opposed to his 25-30 that he normally hits. What happened? That's a 60-point swing. I'm going to take some guesses as to what happened with that. Okay? They got one more star hitter, Sager, a 268 hitter, 25 home runs. That's the only two guys that they got. Remember, I said it takes 4 star hitters to even contemplate having a good enough team to get into the playoffs. Okay? There are hardly any teams out there that if you don't have 4 star players, you just don't get in. Okay? There's maybe 1 or 2 that just sneak in because they're like the Oakland A's or the St. Louis Cardinals. that just sneak in because their pitching staff is like, in the top 3. All right, that's the only way. Okay, and then they get in the playoffs and they don't do anything. So Seattle, you got one chip-in guy who hit 273 with 8 home runs, and that's Saunders. So that's 2 star guys, 1 other guy that chips in. The rest of the guys, listen to this. Nobody thought anybody could hit, so everybody was a part-time player. There was a shuffle in, shuffle out, shuffle in, shuffle out, shuffle in, shuffle out. Kind of like they do in college when guys aren't hit. Oh, you didn't hit today? Okay, we'll get another guy in. That's kind of what they did. Okay? So none of these guys really had enough at bats for me to even place a judgment on them. All right? So no other hitter on the team is proven to be able to be a major league hitter. Okay? The rest of these guys were 240, 250. They hit 260, 270. They had maybe 100 or 200 at bats, and they had no home runs or something like that. Big whoop. All right, putting a minor league team out there basically. Seattle Mariners should be ashamed of themselves. All right, they appear to me to be a minor league team, hitting wise. All right. Yeah, what if Cano wasn't there? What if they didn't pick up Cano? I don't know how they did. They just had a bunch of money and they threw it all on him. If I had that much money, I'd go the Oakland A's route and develop 5 hitters instead of just 1 superstar hitter. And believe me, 314 with 14 home runs isn't that great of a superstar. Okay? So they just basically threw their money away and didn't develop any players, not developing anybody. The only prospect that I see is this Morrison, the first baseman. He 260, 211 home runs. Hardly enough to do any damage in the major leagues, but maybe you could work with him. Who's going to work with him? Who's going to work with him? Because the Seattle Mariners, let's talk appearance here, picked up Howard Johnson, the hitting coach from the New York Mets. He's been in the minor leagues with the Mets. He's been a hitting coach in 2010 when they simply could not hit with the Mets. He came into Seattle, and I have an interview. It says, you know what, they're letting me do whatever I have to do to get these hitters to hit. So there's no real, you're not looking at he hasn't done anything. He's hardly been, he's just getting into coaching. He's just learning how to coach and stuff like that. He's learning on the job. He hasn't done anything. The only thing that he's ever done was he was a good hitter with the Mets. Now, being a good hitter with the Mets is totally separate than teaching somebody how to hit and knowing how muscles work, knowing what drills to do, getting guys to hit for power, all that sort of stuff. He knows none of that. But yet, you guys went out and got somebody who's proven to be unsuccessful with the Mets. By the way, I wouldn't grab anybody from the Mets. They're the worst hitting team in the majors. Okay? I wouldn't grab anybody from the Mets. But you went out, general manager from Seattle, organizational officials from Seattle. You went out and got this guy just because he's a big name. So it appeared to the public that you were trying to get your offense upstarted. But you didn't look inside as to what he's done in the past with hitters, what his philosophy is, all this sort of stuff. Okay? Unbelievable. Lloyd McClendon, the manager. Now, one time, Lloyd McClendon, you let go of Dave Hansen, who's now with the Angels, who's what are they, like number 1 hitting team, number 3 hitting team? Okay? You let go of him just because he wasn't your guy. Even though when he proved with Seattle that he did get the players to hit better for more power. Okay? I'm not saying maybe he got lucky or something like that, and I'm not saying that he's anything really, really great. But when somebody gets, obviously, the hitters are getting better, and then you get rid of this guy for somebody who, like Howard Johnson, who hasn't gotten anybody better, who Howard Johnson, in the interview that I'm going to show you, Moneyball Magazine, just click on the link at Moneyball Magazine and scroll down a little bit, and I've got an interview with Howard Johnson. And what does he talk about? He talks about the fact that Seattle hired him, and they're letting him do anything that he wants to do. Isn't there a Seattle Mariner hitting coordinator or minor league coaches that have a philosophy? Certainly the Mets' philosophy and Seattle's philosophy aren't the same. But they let Howard Johnson do whatever he wants to do. And in this interview, he says, me and the players really, we're meshing really good. This is like before the season and stuff like that. We're really meshing. We got a lot of talent. Everything's positive. And look at the numbers I just gave you. It's all big league, bull crap talk. The appearance. He appears to know what he's talking about. He appears to be a positive person. He appears to be right on line with all the hitters and everything. But the reality of it is they're 23rd in hitting in Major League Baseball. Robinson Cano went down 12 home runs than he usually hits. So Howard Johnson, what did you tell him? Well, when I used to hit back in my day, I just threw that knob right at the ball. And did Cano catch on to some stupid tip that you gave him or something like that? And then he becomes maybe a singles doubles hitter instead of a singles doubles and home run hitter. Okay. Howard Johnson, in this interview, you're naming all these star players that you have associated yourself with. David Wright, Robinson Cano. You don't talk about the guys, the no-name guys that you can't get to hit, obviously. So it appears that you, Howard Johnson, really know what you're talking. You're a really good hitting coach. You're a real professional. You're going to get it done. You're the man. Because you got the big league uniform on, you got the professional talk going, you know what to say, and you know who to associate with. You put the big players. And there's the appearance right there. But unfortunately, nobody looks, except for here at Moneyball Magazine, we look beyond the appearance, what's going on the outside. Okay? There might be a nice lake out there that looks nice and glassy, but underneath there's a bunch of carp just gobbling all the good fish up. And that's what hitting coaches do in the major leagues. The appearance looks nice. And the public is, oh, this looks really pretty, until the ugliness comes and there's just no answer for it. Unbelievable. And now I have to put on a snow cap and become unprofessional, show you guys exactly where I live and how cold that I am. And I could be out in Florida somewhere, in Tampa. We want to move out there. And I could be doing my training out there. But now I got to call it like I see it, because it just appears, the appearance of everything is only skin deep. Unbelievable. And then I'm going to leave you an article on the Moneyball Magazine website about the minor league coaching in Seattle. How they just hate it when these young guys come in and just think that they can just free swing. They all want a free swing. They all want a free swing. Well, by the time they get into Double-A, we stop that right there. We give them counts. You got a 1-2 count right now. Let's go. We get them to push it over. Situational hitting. Teach them really what baseball's all about. That appears to sound really great. That's baseball talk right there. I like guys with discipline. Yeah. And then you look at the numbers. Power numbers aren't there. You're hitting 23rd out of all the major league teams. Team batting average sucks. And a lot of it all starts from the minor leagues. These guys learn just to be defensive hitters. All right? Unbelievable. And I can't wait. If you're listening to these team reviews, I can't wait to get to the New York Mets. Speaking of that. Because you see how the worst teams got things in common, the Mets and the Mariners. Okay? They swap the hitting coach type of thing. Well, if this guy was bad here, let's put him with another bad team, and hopefully a new change of scenery will just change the whole thing around. Doesn't work that way in hitting, guys. When you're a hitting coach and you're not getting anything done over here, you ain't going to get anything done over there. Okay? Now, if we put Howard Johnson with the New York Mets and he did terrible with the Mets, and then we put him with the Angels, it would look like he knows what he's talking about. Because the players would carry him on his shoulder for a little while. Okay? Like Kevin Long and the New York Yankees, who the players carried on his shoulders until he totally wrecked the team with his hitting philosophies. We see it. We're looking more than skin deep here. We're looking beyond the appearance here. Okay? We want you to too. What would Moneyball hitting? Could we be able to save Seattle? Hell yeah, we'd be able to save Seattle. Hitting 244. When we go into a team, we resurrect teams that say that they've been doing situational hitting, mostly in their batting practice. We say, no, we don't do situational hitting. We hit it hard, we hit it far, we hit it consistently. Here's the muscles we use to do it. Here's the drills that we have. Here's how it works. We want to get 4 star hitters in the lineup. Then we want the chip-in guys to chip in. We want the team batting average at least. Our goal is 50 points higher than normal. If we don't reach our goal and we get 30, let's say we got 30 with Seattle here. 244, 250, 460. Ooh, a 274 hitting team. That would put them number one in the major leagues. We average 50-point increases. Okay. We've never done a major league team. We've done some independent league teams, minor league teams, wooden bat college league teams. It's all the same. 50 points, 50 points, 50 points. Travel teams, 50 points. High school teams, 50 points. Okay? It's actually easier for us to work with better athletes, because sometimes in high school we're not working with athletes that are very good. All right? The major leaguers have the same type of hitting issues than a high school kid would, except they're just more athletic and they can get away with it more. And they can catch up to speed with 95-mile-per-hour pitching, where a normal professional can't. That's why they're major leaguers. But they have the same hitting issues. It doesn't matter to us. All right? It appears, so look at my appearance now. I wouldn't hire this guy. I wouldn't hire a Moneyball guy who's got a ski cap on, talking in the middle of a snowstorm. I wouldn't do that. Ted Williams hired me out to be his son's hitting coach. He told his son, grab this guy, see what he's all about, see if he can help you. After his son was 1 for 42 in an independent league with 35 strikeouts. 1 month later, after working with the Moneyball drills, philosophies, whatever you want to call it, he hits 300, just like that. Because all the professional hitting coaches that Ted Williams' son was working with didn't know what they're doing. So you wonder why I'm going after all the hitting coaches from minor leagues on up to major leagues. Because I know what's going on there. And I fixed the guy within 1 second. And I've been in the independent leagues. I've fixed a team before. College wooden bat league was hitting 220. By the time of the second half of the season, they're hitting 260. Power numbers galore. Okay? Those are only a couple of examples. I've worked with over 100 teams. So I know what's going on. I know what the appearance is like. I know the big league stuff. Okay? Everybody wants to, out there, look good first and maybe get the results second. Because if they wanted the results, they'd find specialists like us and like some of the writers that I find and hire to write for a magazine. If they really wanted results. But Seattle and the rest of them, you went out and got Howard Johnson, who hasn't proven anything as a hitting coach, just because he was a great player, didn't you? And look what you're dealing with. I'm done. Thanks, guys. I'm going sledding. Mike Huber, Moneyball Hitter Magazine. We'll see you until next time. Take care.